What is up, book nerds? We are doing an I Predict the Tampa Bay Buccaneers season. We have already done the Atlanta Falcons. So let's do the second team of the NFC South. Let's go. Now we got week 1 against the Washington Commanders. This game, Baker Mayfield has a spectacular game, throwing for 5 touchdowns. And Jaden Daniels has a very alright game. He doesn't throw a pick. He gets a touchdown. Doesn't really do that much. Both Terry McLaurin and Chris Evans, I think, will underperform in this game. But I think this will be a game where Chris Godwin really gets to shine. And also, the Bucs defense does a number on the Commanders. Now we have the Bucs game against the Lions, in which they will get revenge for the divisional round. This is definitely a more quiet game. It's about 1917, kind of quieter game, but Bucs win. The Bucs hype is getting going, and Baker Mayfield playing well. Okay, now with Game 3 against the Denver Broncos, Baker Mayfield puts on another great performance, scores 3 touchdowns. Bo Nix gets 2 touchdowns in, maybe one of those is a rushing touchdown. Bucs defense does a number to Bo Nix. And Mike Evans and Chris Godwin both have good games. Now we have the Bucs game against the Eagles, which is another win. They go up to 4-0. This is them showing that they're still better than the Eagles in similar fashion to how they did in the divisional round. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Baker Mayfield, they all have a good day. And their defense is able to defeat the tush push. Now we have the Bucs game against the Atlanta Falcons, in which they rise up to 5-0. This game is kind of close, definitely a heavy offensive performance. But the Falcons, they have a lot of growing pains, as you would see in my I Predict the Atlanta Falcons video. Check that out if you see this one. But this game is another one where Baker Mayfield shows that he is that guy and he can lead this offense. Plus, the Bucs have more experience together than the Falcons do, so they have more team chemistry. And here, Baker Mayfield's hot streak comes to an end. He way underperforms in this game. Derek Carr slightly outplays him. Baker Mayfield doesn't throw a touchdown, but throws a pick. Derek Carr throws 1 touchdown and 1 pick. Mike Evans has a pretty solid game. Chris Olave was pretty good in this game. And the Saints defense has a spectacular game. All right, Bucs lose their second game in a row, this time to the Baltimore Ravens, in which they keep it especially close. Their defense is able to stop Lamar and Derrick Henry, not enough to win the game, but enough that they keep it within 1 score and keep it close. Baker Mayfield's able to go toe-to-toe with Lamar Jackson. I know that may seem quite surprising to a lot of people. And this game is also a heavily defensive matchup. And I think the Bucs' overall defense will improve because they didn't have the best run defense last year. But this may also be an off day for the Ravens. But they still win the game. Bucs lose. Now we have another Bucs win over the Falcons. They sweep the series. They have an all-around great game. The Falcons at this point, ice cold. I'm not going to elaborate on that because I still want y'all to check out the Falcons video. But Cliff Notes, Bucs sweep the Falcons. This time slightly dominant fashion, 10 points. It's definitely not as close as it looks. It doesn't look that close. Now the Bucs get a win over the Kansas City Chiefs, reigning Super Bowl champions, in the same fashion as I did back in 2021 in the Super Bowl. Another close game. This one comes down to a field goal, but the Bucs win. And now the Bucs lose to the San Francisco 49ers. They got lucky against the Chiefs, beating a better team, but they won't get lucky this week. I think the Niners are just too good for the Bucs. They'll try in the first half, but the Niners will eventually take them down. I just think the Niners are just too stacked. Plus, Baker Mayfield has to have his hits and misses, and he's been having a lot of hits this season, so we need a corresponding amount of misses. Coming off the loss to the San Francisco 49ers, the Niners beat my New York Giants. But my Giants will keep it way too close. This is a high-scoring offensive performance. Baker Mayfield goes toe-to-toe with either Jones or DeVito, and they combine for 9 total touchdowns. This is an interesting one because this wasn't a matchup that was highly anticipated, but I created a storyline in my head that made this game pretty good. In this game where the defense doesn't show up for once, which has been a very big strength this season, especially Anton Winfield. This is the one game where they're not much of a strength, but Baker Mayfield balls out. And so does Jones/DeVito. Now we have the Bucs game against the Panthers. Baker Mayfield and Bryce Young both have pretty good games. Antoine Winfield goes crazy on that defense. Overall, the Bucs are just a better team. The Panthers don't really have much to play for, but they remain competitive. Give some hope that Bryce Young has a future. Now we have the Bucs game against the Raiders. The Raiders already out the postseason. They're probably trying to tank for some good picks. The Bucs cement themselves into the postseason. I think at this point they win the NFC South. Though the Raiders keep it close, 23-18. And then now we have the Chargers game. This is a game where, again, Baker Mayfield underperforms. He doesn't get a touchdown. Almost all of it is spearheaded by the run game. Justin Herbert does all right. Also, the run game is very important. Quentin Johnson is all right. Mike Evans has a solid game, but he's not able to get touchdowns out of it. He gets a lot of yards. He just doesn't get enough touchdowns. But Hardball's run game is what wins the game. Now the Bucs have another loss, this time to the Dallas Cowboys. This is similar to the San Francisco 49ers, in which the Dallas Cowboys defense doesn't number on Baker Mayfield. But the Bucs are able to stop the Dallas Cowboys offense. Dak has a really unimpressive game. But the Cowboys defense does enough to take the game. Now we have the Bucs beating the Panthers 28-3. You know I had to pick that number to haunt you Falcons fans out there. But in actuality, I think this is pretty realistic. The Bucs are better on both defense and offense. The Panthers don't have much to play for. They're probably going for a draft pick, but they get the 3 points. And now the Bucs are officially better than they were last season. Now we have the Bucs ending the season 11-6 with a loss to the New Orleans Saints. Saints sweep, but it's only because they play them in the last week of the game, in which the Bucs rest starters. They get the 4th seed because at this point they've won their division. They're not going to be able to get the first round bye. Best case scenario, they get the 2 seed. Worst case scenario, they get the 4th seed. This is what they get the 4th seed. Because it goes Niners, Packers, Cowboys, Bucks. So, I mean, whoever they play 5th, 6th, 7th, I mean, that doesn't really matter that much because as we saw with the Dallas Cowboys, it doesn't matter who you play, it's how you play. So they rest starters to prevent injury for their wildcard game. And that ends this video. Do not forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification to be notified when I upload my next video. I also have a new second channel, Book, Nerd, and Film Reviews. If you are into film, check that new channel out. I post some of my best videos on there, similar to what I post. Very similar quality to what I post on this channel, but for film. So if you're interested, check that out too. See you in the next one. Peace.